Coach, what is going on? This is going to be a very unedited, raw kind of video where I'm going to be showing you three systems that are going to help you free up about 10 hours per week instantly. Obviously, if you have a bigger business with more and more staff, it's going to be a lot more hours because it will be multiplied by them. But this is going to be for coaches who currently feel like they're kind of drowning in check-ins. There's so much onboarding and they're always switching between different Google Sheets to track stuff for the business and track stuff for the client. And yeah, I'm going to show you how to have systems that will do basically that stuff for you so you won't have to be hopping in between there. So right now you might feel like it's just endless check-ins. They're kind of scattered across all different places where you might have the chat over here, you might have the client data here, and then you're going into Trainerize and you're grabbing information from there, and then you're trying to look at their check-in, provide feedback. It just feels a little bit all over the place. The next part then is the actual manual onboarding. Every time that you take on a client, it adds more admin work, and when it adds more admin work it takes away from the actual coaching, and then you end up back in this pain cycle again, where if you watch the last video that I posted, you'll see a little kind of process you can go through to figure out how to escape that little pain cycle. And then we have the client management that, like, not all of your client details are held in one place. You have some stuff inside Trello, you have some stuff inside Google Sheets, then you have to go into Trainerize to grab other bits of information, and it's just a little bit messy and a little bit disorganized. So let's fix some of that stuff now today. So the first thing that we're going to be looking at is a smart check-in system. Now, the problem with a lot of your client check-ins is the client send in, let's say, a form. You look at that form and you're like, right, what did they say now in their check-in last week? So you have to go back through the forms to find last week's check-in. What did I actually go give them feedback from there? Then you have to go look at your messages. And then you're like, but what do we actually say initially when they signed up on that sales call? Or what did they say in their intake forms? Then you have to go digging through the files to try to find that stuff. It just ends up having your check-ins take way longer than they actually should. So here's a solution for this where it's going to be like all the information put into one place, and we can actually implement some like AI summaries to help you manage your check-ins faster. We're not getting AI to take over your check-ins, but we're going to help it, be a tool to help you do more check-ins faster and have better information. So it starts off by creating a form on Typeform or another form software that allows some advanced logic. What we want to do then is we want to apply that logic. So we then have, if I zoom in here, can I zoom in? Possibly. Oh, that's horrible. Let's not do that. Okay, so it has logic, which is essentially we get to decide if they answer, let's say A, what route should they go down? So the way that we apply this to our check-in is we want to ask the clients loads of information, but we don't want them to have to spend like 20 minutes going through a check-in form. It's just not going to be nice for them. So what we want to do is we want to give them a question, give them some possible answers, and then we have to think, if they answered this, what would the next logical question be that we would ask them if we were having a conversation trying to troubleshoot what's going on for them in the week? And then that essentially lets us build out different paths. So we can say, hey, if you say, let's say B, you're going down this route here, and then you get to here. If you say A, we're going to give you this. If you say B here, if you say C, you're here. If you answer that, then you're going to here. And then you get to the stage where we're going to be giving them questions, and then we'll decide, well, depending on how they answer this, we might actually just skip that whole part altogether. There's no need to go into that, or we might need to dig deeper and go into it. Or if they're having a really bad time, do we just get them straight onto a call? But it gives you the ability to change the check-in to what they are actually experiencing at that time. So not only are they going to have a more engaging experience, but you're going to get better data because you're asking them what's actually needed for that given situation. You're not asking them 100 questions or having to go through all of that data. It then gets that and it filters them in terms of urgency. So we can see who's really struggling, who's kind of okay, and then who's doing pretty well. And we can go deal with that first. So we can see, like, right, this person needs the most help. Let's go deal with them first. And then after that, we'll move on to the ambers and then on to the greens. But sometimes we might want to see other information. Like if Aaron's red here, and we're like, okay, he says he's red. He says, he's having a terrible fucking week. He hasn't stuck to his nutrition or anything. But we go have a look then as client profile, and we can see, oh, the nutrition compliance is high, but the training compliance is low. And we're looking at that other data that's being pulled in from other places but put onto his actual check-in. And if we want to, let's say, click on his Trainerize profile or his Everfit profile or something like that, it's just one click of a button, and then it opens up his profile. One thing that a lot of my clients are using at the moment is with Trainerize. They recently launched their nutrition center. I might overlay it here. I don't know. But in the nutrition center, we can basically see a more detailed view of what the client's nutrition was when they were tracking it using the in-app tracking. So what we did was we had the client's nutrition center link automatically populate in all their check-ins. So if the coach wants to check something to do with the client's nutrition, instead of going into Trainerize, searching for the clients, going clicking through their profile, finding stuff, it's just one link on the check-in. They click on it and it opens up automatically. And yeah, there's no more searching. So we're able to bring in outside data that they didn't tell us on the check-in form to display onto the check-in forms, that we don't have to go to all these different places. Then we can see stuff like really like nutrition compliance, training compliance, depending on what apps and stuff they're using. But we might want to see other stuff then, like, right, how long are they actually with us? So, like, are they 6 blocks in, 12 blocks in? What's their check-in consistency rate? This fella has never checked in for me. This fella only checks in 11% of the time. When did they actually check in last? And when they did, what color were they? How often do they check in? And what frequency is this person on compared to that person? Like, all of that data, again, is visible from the check-in, so you're not having to go search through stuff. And then you'll see the check-in history. So you'll be able to see, like, right, of the check-ins that this person has completed, let's say in the last 12 weeks, what were they? And from there, what feedback details did we actually give? And you're actually able to scan through it. One part that we're doing now recently is we have a little field inside the check-in where the coach can paste in the Loom summary, or not the Loom summary, the Loom transcript. So they record their Loom or their text or whatever they do, they just paste it in there. And then we have an AI agent field then, which goes and looks at that and then summarizes it. So we can have like a high level summary populate next to the check-in, just like this, where it would be like a one sentence telling you what happened in that check-in. So if you wanted to scan through, let's say, 12 to 20 check-ins before you're about to jump on that client call, you could see exactly what you said to these people. And then if you needed to dive in deeper, you could click on it and it will open up all the data from that given check-in as well. So that makes it so much easier. Now, the next part that we're going on to is onboarding, because the way the way we want to think about it is with onboarding, if adding more clients into the business means more admin, it takes away coaching time. When we take away coaching time, it takes away client results. And we take away client results, it takes away the actual lead generation. Then we end up in this cycle where we have to keep doing more marketing to get more clients in. And it's never ending like that. So onboarding is one of those things that we should not have to do manually. This should be automatic. There's no reason for us to be still sending stuff the old way. And this is unfortunately the way that a lot of coaches are still doing it. They send a Stripe payment link. They wait for the client to pay it. They're like, all right, hopefully they pay. After that, then they're like, cool, they paid. Let's go send them the welcome email. They send them welcome email, welcome to the coaching and all this, the same one that they sent to all the clients. From there, then they get them to fill in the intake form, and then they wait for them to fill in the intake form. Once that's complete, then they'll send them the contract, and then they'll wait for them to sign the contract. Then from there, then once they've signed the contract and the intake form and all the other details, they'll then start adding them to the various apps that they have. So it could be like Trainerize, Transistor, and all these other apps that you use for the coaching business. Now, the problem with that is the client can get lost along the way here. We have no real easy way to track what's actually happening, and every single step of that is manual. Like, even if we set up a Zap that was like, oh, as soon as you get a Stripe payment, it adds them to Trainerize. Well, they're added to Trainerize before they actually even sign the contract. Then they could possibly complete the intake form before they sign the contract, and then they could actually end up in your coaching program without having any contract signed. I had a client that I worked with last year, and before he worked with me, he's an American client. He said that he had a client sign up, and they signed up. It was about 4 weeks in, and everything was going great. And then out of the blue, this client said, "Yeah, I want a full refund. This isn't really what I want, and everything like that." And he said, "Fortunately, we can't do that. We've already started the coaching, and we're not going to give a full refund. You signed the contract." And then the client turned around and said, "Well, I didn't actually sign it. I read the contract, but I never actually signed it." And that coach ended up, I think it was like $3,000 that he ended up refunding to that person, which is an absolute nightmare. We don't want that. So no client should ever end up in your coaching business without that contract being signed. So how do we automate this so that it's not such a like a cumbersome kind of thing to do every time that we take on a new client? This is the new way. We trigger it all with Stripe, and then we let Zapier take care of the rest. But it's not just like, all right, we set up one big long thing that's like it just sends it all to the client at one go. That's overwhelming. What we want to do is we want to break it up into stages. So I'll actually show you some Zaps, and like feel free to copy the Zaps. So the first one is stage one. This is in a real client account here. Stage one, we can see that we have the checkout session is completed. And once that checkout session is completed, we then filter it by the program. So if you have multiple different products that you offer, we don't want it to trigger on every checkout session. We only want to trigger on a checkout session where, let's say, the filter contains a specific keyword, where it could be like signature program, new client, or something along the lines of that. From there, then we might want to format some stuff, like get their first name and last name split up. And then from there, the first thing that happens is it creates the document for the signature and it sends it out to them. And then with this, we can have reminders set. So not only will it go out to them automatically and notify them, but it will actually set a reminder to go off every 3 days until the client has signed the contract. So nobody is going to get away with, just not signing the contract and ending up in the business. After that, then we have the file generation. So very often in coaching businesses, you still have some like Google Sheets or Google Documents or stuff like that that you create for clients, whether it's an internal process or whether it's something that you actually give to the clients. But very often it's just duplicating a file, renaming it, and then putting it into a client folder. So that's exactly what we do here. We find the file, we copy it, we rename it, we put it into the client's folder, and then we have the Airtable record. So Airtable is the CRM that they are using. That's where I build all the custom CRMs, and we'll go into that in a minute. But from there, then, as soon as the person is paid, we basically get them into the CRM, put them into the onboarding stage, and show that they are at the first stage where the stuff has been sent to them. Then we go on to stage two. So stage two is triggered by when the person signs that contract. So as soon as that document is signed, it will go find them in the CRM, and then it will go grab their details. You'll add them into their email marketing software to kickstart all of the onboarding emails for them. And then after it finds them, it will check to see which coach is this actually assigned to. So in this instance, this coach has 3 coaches in the business, herself and then 2 other coaches. So it looks at it and says, right, which client has this coach been assigned to? And then from there, it will add that client to the correct coach in Trainerize, and then you'll add them to the group in Trainerize, and then you'll update them along the way to say, hey, this person is now at the next stage of the onboarding. You'll tick it off so the coach can jump in and be like, right, this is Aaron's client here. He's 40% of the way through the onboarding. This is what's sent to him. This is what he's already completed. Now we're just waiting for him to do X, Y, and Z. Then stage 3 is their intake form. So once the intake form has been completed, it will then again find that client and update the profile for that client then as well to say, hey, all of the steps have now been completed. You'll attach all the documents like the contract, the intake form, all the details to the profile in the CRM. And then from there, you'll notify the coach to be like, hey, this client is ready to go. Just finish off their programming and send it off to them. In some stages, we can actually get the programming to be automatically done for you then as well, all depending on what apps and software you use. Trainerize, we can do it. Everfit, we can do it. There are some other ones that you can do it, but they would be the 2 recommendations that work best with automations. And yeah, you could have the programming, so the training and nutrition automatically programmed for you, ready to go. So then you just make any tweaks that are needed to the client's profile and then send it off to them. So speed at the very start. So that is the way that the onboarding should be. You don't need to be doing this whole manual step of sending all these every single time. So every new client that you take on, then no time. It's literally send a payment link. As soon as they pay, kickstarts the process, and you are ready to go. Now, the third system that you need to be able to kind of, so I don't want to say win back that time, and any time that you see like reclaim your time, it just screams AI to me. But for you to be able to get back that time is a client management dashboard. You need, like, if I had to say one system that you could only choose to build, it would be this, because you need like this central base where you can see all your clients. You can see like, right, who's checked in, who hasn't checked in. You can see who's onboarding, who's not onboarding, who is active, graduated, paused. Like, you need a way to be able to see all this. And then What we try to do is we try to get all of the information that we have on that client, like from intake forms to contracts and everything, to move into this centralized database. And it could be like every time that you have a client call, the AI summary of that call gets generated and attached to that client's profile. So next time you're on a call with that client, we can see what's going on. The same with the leads, like the leads could be put into this same place where we can see, right, we had a sales call with this person. Here's the AI transcript, AI summary, and then you click one button, you'll be able to see the AI sales trainer recommendations on that then as well to be like, right, well, this is what we should do now. If we need to reach out to this person again, this is what we should say. This is when we should reach out. Like all of that needs to be held in one place, because if we are jumping between all different apps to find the data, it's just going to slow us down. And the key is speed, to be able to get all this information and it not take us longer. And this is some of the views, like, and the kind of common things that you would want out of this. So you want one master view that you can see like all the client's key details. So if I click into a client, I want to see every single check-in, every single payment, every single form they complete. I want to see their contract, their intake form, every single call they've had. I want to see when it was, why we had the call, the AI summary of that call. If I see that the client has requested like almost like a form review or anything like that, I want to see that attached. When was it? Why did they request it? Like every single bit of information we have on the client, I want to see it on one profile when you click into it. We then want to see like statuses overview. So we want to see out of all the client base, we want to see who's onboarding, who's active, who's graduated, who's inactive. And we want to be able to see a list of every single contact that we've had in terms of like, right, this was a client before, we should probably reach out to them again. When did they leave? What's going on? We would then want to see stuff like check-in compliance. So instead of us manually tracking like, all right, who checked in, who didn't check in, all right, we'll like put an X on a spreadsheet like that. We can have it automatically track where the check-ins go out, it identifies who checked in, who didn't check in, and then it'll automatically track the check-in consistency rate for you. So you'll be able to see like Aaron only checked in 40% of the time on the program and he's complaining about results, compared to Jack, who completed, let's say, 80% of his check-ins and got good results. And then you can actually show that to clients then as well. Then anything to do with payments and finance, like the amount of coaches who are still tracking like their sales on a spreadsheet and trying to track client payments is ridiculous. Have it set up where Zapier just sends all Stripe payments into something like Airtable, and then from there have a script run in the background where it grabs the details from the payments, finds the right person, and then attaches it to their profile. So we'll be able to see customer lifetime value automatically attached, and then we'll be able to see our sales and our revenue from month to month. We'll be able to see if we have lots of people on monthlies, how much revenue we should actually be taking in over the next few months. Then coach assignment, we should be able to see like if we are at the stage where we're starting to add in other coaches to our business, which if you're doing that and you haven't put in automations, put in automations first, it could save you thousands every month. But if you are at that stage where you have coaches and you have team, being able to see like what's assigned to those is super simple. Like being able to see these are my clients, these are other coaches' clients. How are those clients performing compared to my clients? And then it becomes very easy for you to evaluate the performance of those coaches then as well. Then program progress, like how far is this person in the program? And then if we're able to see how far they are in the program, we're able to see when clients leave. That lets us identify roughly how long they stay in the program. And if we're noticing that, let's say on the 120-day mark, majority of clients are leaving around then we need to change something about the program at around that stage. Do we need to add in more touch points? Do we need to change the way the program is done? But you don't know what to do unless you have that data there in front of you. And then you have stuff like red flags. So like, if they keep missing check-ins, if their trending consistency is low, if there's any payments flagging that they didn't go through, all that kind of stuff can be monitored automatically and then just brought to your attention when it needs to be. Rather than you looking for that stuff, it just pops up in front of you, say, hey, there's an issue here with this client, you should probably check it out. Or they gave you a new service review and their satisfaction score was below an 8 out of 10 or something like that. And then a communication log. So stuff like client interactions, client notes, any changes that you made to programming, anything that you want to keep track of in terms of like call logs and stuff like that too. All of it can be held in one place. So then if we wanted, we could even ask the AI in there to be like, hey, this client is finishing up now. Please create a graduation playbook. And then it will go and it'll look at every single bit of information we have on the clients, put that together into a nice little PDF that you could then put into something like Gamma to like design a little PDF like this, and then actually give it to the client when they're leaving. So why do we actually like build all this? Because this is normally stuff that you would hire a VA to do, or you would hire another coach to do, or you would hire a client concierge, or you would hire somebody. But the main thing is you are hiring. You are spending money constantly to have somebody else do this stuff and for you to have to monitor them to do this stuff. And it's just, you're just honestly, you're just pissing away money. Like, automate it, systemize it, and then delegate it. You have to follow that order because if you, let's say you hired, let's go through the stats here now. So we'll go back to this in a second. But if you paid somebody like 25 euro an hour, which like if you're hiring a good staff member, it's going to be costing you that, and they just do 10 to 15 hours per week, that's 13 to 19 grand a year that you're wasting on something that automation could have done for you. And that's just for 10 to 15 hours. As your business scales more and more, that's going to be increasing more and more as well. Then, with that, when you do this, you'll have an extra capacity for about 25% more clients. You'll be able to handle about 25% more clients. So if you have somewhere between 50 to 100 clients right now, that's 12 to 25 clients. And if you have, let's say, a customer lifetime value of 1,000 to 2,000 per client, probably going to be closer to 2,000 if we're being realistic. But that's anywhere from 12 and a half to 50 grand of extra revenue that you'll be able to handle without working any extra hours, just doing what you're currently doing. But it's just you're not fucking about with all of the kind of like manual stuff anymore. Everything's put in front of you. And then the last part is if all of that, you being able to pay more attention to your clients, increase your client retention by about 10 to 15% in terms of length of program, and each client is worth, I suppose, 2,000 for you. That's going to be an extra 10 to 15,000 euro revenue that you would generate. And that's all just from setting up 3 automated systems at the very start. And yeah, that's something you set up once, you don't touch it again, you just let it work away. Check-in system, it's going to be 5+ hours per week that you're going to save. CRM is going to be at least 5+ hours per week. And then the onboarding flow, it's going to be at least 1 to 2 hours per client that you take on. So if you take on 10 clients in the month, it's an extra 10, 15. Like, it scales with you. So if you took anything away from this video, it is going to be, first thing that you need to do is set up a better check-in system. A lot of coaches, you're wasting a lot of time with this, and yeah, you just don't need to be. The second thing that you need to do is automate that onboarding. You don't need to be doing this manually every time. Just automate it once, forget about it, it's done. And then the third thing is start to set up a client management system where it's all in one place and you can see everything, and you're pulling in all the information from the different apps and software and putting it there in front of you and making it like truly custom. Like a lot of the time you'll see these ones where it's like people bang on about Go High Level, and don't get me started on that. I'll shut the video down. But they'll bang on about that saying, oh, it's everything in one place. Yeah, but you're making yourself suited to the way that app works. You want to create a custom CRM that works around the way that you coach, the way that you want to see things and stuff like that. It's not possible in Go High Level. And it's trying to do a great job at everything. It's doing a great job at absolutely nothing then. And you should be using the specific apps that do the specific purposes. So that is it. Please go implement that stuff. Please take action on those things. And yeah, if you want to have a chat about setting this up, just drop me a message on Instagram with the word offer. I'll send you over the full offer document. It will show you exactly what's involved with working together. You'll see the client case studies, and yeah, you'll see all the information, including the investment. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you took a bit of value away from this, and yeah, hopefully you go actually implement on this.